And we're back with Game 3 here of Coalition League's Summer Split, the Noxus Semifinals between MG Nitro and 7men. And it's been a wild ride thus far. MG Nitro forcing the surrender out of 7men in Game 1, and 7men answering back in Game 2 here. It took them a while, but they did finally manage to close that game out and come back extremely strong. And coming into Game 3 here, both teams are looking to try and secure themselves the advantage. We're going to see lots of changes in the drafts, I assume, for both teams trying to optimize their play here. Because while 7men did win Game 2, it was nowhere near as clean as they would probably have liked. And so for Game 3, it's going to be MG Nitro on the blue side, 7men on the red side here. And we do see a bit of a change in the roster here for MG Nitro. The support is going to be changed. Coming in for I'm very upset now is going to be the Bread Smuggler. He is an E-sub, so they will lose 2 bans for that. And we'll have to see if that works for MG Nitro, sacrificing bans for a different face here. And because they're on the blue side, MG Nitro are going to pick and ban first. They ban out the Galio, Kill, Ezreal. The Teemo and Ivern bans are just placeholders there. They're not actually bans. They're just used to speed things up. And looks like they really didn't like the Ezreal. For Muxar did seem to have MG Boat's Kai'Sa's number. And for 7men, they're banning out the Mordekaiser, the Vayne, the Leona here against the Bread Smuggler, the Ornn and the Kassadin once again against Piglet here. Now, in terms of picks, MG Nitro going with a Pantheon, Olaf, Kai'Sa to start things off. That's very, very spicy here. Pantheon actually was played by Alpels before as well, so does sort of fit MG Piglet's assassin mid lane style, but it's not actually going to be mid lane because they picked Diana and Volibear as well. That means that Pantheon is most likely going to be support or top lane, because it's probably Olaf in the jungle, and that's either Volibear, support, or top. We'll have to see either way. An unorthodox support coming out here for MG Nitro. And they've thrown their previous playbook completely out the window. They're going all in on a dive composition here. MG Bolt was struggling to get into fights, but he wasn't really at risk of dying very much last game, and so they've all in on that. They're going to give Bolt his agile sort of Kai'Sa here, who will be able to kite around fights on her own, will be fairly safe without much peel, and instead they're going to all in try and just crush 7men, dive their backline, because it was a lot on Muxar and Alpels in Game 2. Both of them were sort of that backline, sit back and try and play safe sort of carries here. On 7men's side, losing those 2 bans meant that Vi somehow snuck through the pick and ban phase. So they're going to insta-lock that one for Team in here. We have literally not seen it all split long because everybody's just been banning it against Team in. So he'll be extremely happy to get that one for himself. It's going to be the Ashe pickup as well. The Yasuo, that's not a Yasuo. That's actually a Swain here. So it's an Ashe Swain bot lane. And that's very typical Muxar on that Ashe. It has been banned against him for most of the series, but it is his go-to champion, provides a crap ton of utility, and it has been coming back into vogue right now among like most tiers. People are starting to remember that Ashe brings a lot of utility, a lot of damage as well if left to free fire. Will be a bit rough, I think, into this composition with the Pantheon, Olaf, Diana, Volibear, everybody able to dive the backline. I think Muxar will have a much rougher game, but will have the Swain as well to try and peel a little bit. The Syndra and Darius as well for Alpels and Bright and Bush. And out of the top lane, it's very similar to what top lane Sucks did last week, where he played the Kill, the Aatrox, and the Darius. We've seen his Aatrox carry. Now we're seeing the Darius again. We'll have to see if that too can sort of dominate and carry here. And both these teams, they don't really have a lot of cohesion in their compositions here. It's mostly just power picks in lane. And they're sort of doubling down on the Noxus playstyle, which is win lane, win game. So again, not expecting it to be a very long drawn out match. Last game actually ran significantly longer than I thought, just shy of about 40 minutes here. But this one, I sincerely doubt it will go that way. We're not seeing hyper scaling mids. We're not seeing AD champions in the bot lane who take some time to sort of scale up. Instead, we're seeing just a lot of lane dominance here. And this is going to be as pure as it gets in terms of who can carry harder, who can really dominate the early game, and who is mechanically better across the lanes here. No tanks, just straight brawling. We do see now the Ascendant getting collapsed on. Bread Smuggler opting to start with that stun actually, and it's going to have to flash away because the snare did ultimately land on MG Piglet in the back there while everybody was running after him. So that is going to be a summoner blown really early for the Ascendant here. And MG Nitro can look to continue the invade. They have the stronger level 1 with the Olaf, with the Pantheon. And Mookstar dropping that ward. Has to be careful. The flash coming out of Bread Smuggler here. It's the support trading for the ADC. And that's now both flashes burned in the bot lane for 7 men. Going to be a rough start on an already immobile bot lane here. But MG Nitro not opting to try and steal the blue buff away here. It was just too many wards. They're going to go back to their jungle, but that's going to mean they've got a bit of a slower start. But Teemin not going to ask Brighton Bush to leash. He's just going to brute force this red buff here. And he can certainly do so on that Vi. Normally at the beginning of games, I like to sort of look across the lanes and try and see where teams can look for advantages, but right now I actually don't necessarily think we can do that because it's pretty evenly balanced. Darius into Volibear there. It's really a carry lane. Bot side, Bread Smuggler just aggressively going in with that Hex, that Proto Flash, the Hex Flash there. Aggressively going, and he's actually gone the Omni Stone here on the Pantheon. An interesting keystone to run, but one that's quite good in that you can really proc anything that comes up, and you can already see the Grasp of the Undying there for him if he can just land it. But it will be a bit of a rough bot lane in that he is facing a double ranged, both Swain and Ashe, quite spaced up quite far, so Bread Smuggler has to walk up really aggressively to find anything, but instead they find Teemin, and Teemin, who likes to gank early, likes to look for kills, is actually going to be collapsed on. Instead, the Ignite comes down, they won't be able to find the kill there, and now it's MG Boat getting exhausted here. They're looking for the damage, and Mookstar with this Ashe right now, can he find it? Yes, he can. He gets first blood right before he goes down, but they'll be able to trade back 2 for 1. Teemin somehow surviving that walking into 2 here, and it is going to be 7 men finding an early advantage in the bot lane here. And it's going to be a double Duran's Blade for MG Boat. He recognizes that a lot of this is just going to be down onto sort of the early mechanical laning phase, so he doubles down on some early game items here. Mookstar instead opting for that Sapphire Crystal as well as the dagger here for himself, so a bit more of a mixed bag for him. Interestingly enough, he didn't opt to go boots, which would help him to sort of zone better, control the range better, especially against the Bread Smuggler. I guess he's thinking that against that Hex Flash there, it's just not a safe item to go, because boots won't save you from a sudden engage. Topside, Only Lewis and Brighton Bush trading, and Brighton Bush once more struggling. It's been looking like Only Lewis is sort of the better top laner, but against the Darius, the Ignite finally coming down here. Can he pick up the kill? The minion damage comes across. The Ignite going to take down, will not be able to find Brighton Bush for now here. And there's only one teleport on the map right now. It's going to be on Alpals in that mid lane there. The only person not doubling down on combat summers looking for kills. And I think that's because he's the only one who really has a bit of a rough matchup. That being said, Syndra is actually a huge counter against Diana here. The Scatter of the Weak can basically stop any engage from MG Piglet. And now it is going to be the junglers coming up. Both are here, and it's going to be Only Lewis getting dragged under turret. A Throgar now looking to run away. He did opt for the Ghost Olaf instead of the Flash Olaf here, so we'll be able to run away. Does not want to sacrifice mobility, and that is going to be Only Lewis going down. Everything coming up 7 men's way here. And Alpal's looking for it. He does get the stun, followed with the Vault Breaker. They get themselves a 4th kill right now. And 7 men popping off in every single lane right now. A good movement there from Alpals to recognize that he had a potential to cut a throw guard off. And for a throw guard, that's going to be extremely rough. He is playing that Olaf here. Does want to be in that stronger position to be able to win out any duels. The bright side is he is still up in jungle camps here. That's something he's consistently done now. All 3 games, he's had the better early game pathing through the jungle. And though Teemin often does sort of get advantages here with the ganks, but he is falling behind in terms of experience because those jungle camps are more valuable in terms of experience early. We do see a small disconnect from MG Boat here. Should be right back. There we go. We do see the root landing onto the Bread Smuggler. He's going to take a lot of damage before that shield comes out. The shield coming out a little late there means he will be extremely, extremely low. has to be careful. It still does have some biscuits, it looks like, in lane, so we'll be fine. Getting that Hail of Blades out, he trades back onto the Ascendant, but the question is, can they survive? And Muxtar opting to go for the Bread Smuggler instead of Boat. Does not find either of them, but they do exert their lane dominance and look to continue bullying out. A welcome change, I'm sure, for 7 men compared to how that bot lane's been going in games 1 and 2 here. Topside, Brighton Bush and only Lewis continue to trade a beautiful Stormbringer at the last second to keep him healthy. But the problem is he's still low, and Brighton Bush will be able to take him down. Just needs one more auto. Can he find it? Yes, he can. The Blast Cone not going to be able to get him to safety bot lane. We do see kills coming down. The Ascendant does go down, but Mooks are able to pump out that damage. He finds 2 for himself. They trade even, but now it's a battle of the junglers. And Teeman with this Vi, showing why it should have been banned here and why it has been banned against him all split. He's now 3-0-3 here, making moves across the map. And at the 7-minute mark, we're already up to 3-8 in terms of the kill score, with 7 men finding themselves a 2,000 goal lead. Top side, it is going to be Brighton Bush this time, getting ganked once again. Will go down this time, and the interesting thing is the gank came from the Bread Smuggler. He's making his way around the map here. He's not even level 6 yet. The Ascendant replying with a gank into the mid lane. Vision of the Empire forcing Piglet back out. Can they find the kill? No. And Alpal's flashing backwards. Aggressively flashing backwards there, but it might not keep him alive. He's out of mana. The Bread Smuggler just fresh off a gank in the top lane. Gonna come back to the mid lane instead, and he gets a kill onto Alpal's. He's now 3-2-2 here. The Pantheon support right now playing more like a jungler, and it's working. He's managing to find action here and trying to close a bit of the gap against the 7 men. And it's just fights in both sides, and with those kills, the Bread Smuggler getting 6. He's going to use the Grand Skyfall into the bot lane, and that's going to see Mookstar fall as well. Despite that extremely rough early game that MG Nitro had, they are firing back on all cylinders right now. Not happy to let the early game slip away, and MG Nitro showing why they're at the top of the table right now. Despite Teeman going 3-0-3 on his Vi, they're making sure that they find their own leads as well. And they're answering back with the Bread Smuggler on this Pantheon here. With that, we have sort of fallen into a bit of a lull state. I think both teams were getting a little bit hyphy there with their movements around the map, trying to get kills. As I say that, we do see Scattered Wheat come across onto NG Piglet. It was his chance to engage, but Teeman showing up, just walking across the mid lane there, will dissuade MG Piglet from looking from any sort of engage here. And now both Herald and Dragon are up on the map. We'll have to see what they opt to do. Teeman running into a throw guard here, but he didn't realize that he's got a travel buddy because the Bread Smuggler is here. Ignite coming across. Teeman probably will go down here. And it's going to be Brighton Bush looking to try and find something. The dunk comes across. It gets blocked by the shield. A beautiful use of that shield. Will not allow it to reset as well. And now Alpal's coming up there. Will get dragged in. The Moonfall doing work. It's going to be only Lewis picking this one up as well. And Brighton Bush, can he turn the tides? Maybe, probably not, because MG Piglet going to be able to pick him up with the Q. And suddenly, it's MG Nitro starting to win a lot of these trades. They are still down a little bit in gold, but it's just that a little bit. And the Bread Smuggler, you can see why he was brought in for the side of MG Nitro. He's acting as a secondary jungler, just ganking all around the map. Doesn't care about the Grand Skyfall at all. And meanwhile, they're just leaving MG Boat alone, and he's been doing great. He's even in CS despite being pressured under turret constantly here. And now the Bread Smuggler running in here. He's just dashing in with those Moby boots. He's looking for the Ascendant. Does get the stun. The Demon Ascension comes out, but he's still going to get burst down by MG Boat there. The Bread Smuggler will go down, and now we've got a 2v2 as Teeman shows up. But Mookstar already extremely low, and now that means Teeman's alone in the midst of a whole bunch. He'll go down as well. Now 4-2-5. Double kill for MG Boat. And MG Nitro now in the lead, in gold, in kills. And looking like this is where they are most comfortable in these brawly situations. And this is bad news for the side of 7men, because this is how 7men has played through most of the regular season with this sort of chaotic brawling sort of style. And now it looks like they're not even the better ones at it, because MG Nitro right now in the laning phase just showing that they are better and faster at the rotations. They do pick themselves up the Mountain Drake as well here. But Throwguard has to be careful. He's now deep in enemy territory here. Gonna use that Ragnarok really early. Will be able to stop the snare there from the Ascendant. And they're gonna give this one up, interestingly enough. No Enchanted Crystal Arrow available. Teaming now in the top side, getting collapsed on. He's gonna get stunned up, but Alpals is there. The Scatter of the Weak comes across onto only Lewis. He's extremely low here. Are they gonna be able to kill him? No, they're not. Instead, Teaming getting abandoned once again. But Brighton Bush is here for the cleanup. He wants to get a kill. Where was Alpals? He left. I don't think he should have, because that just cost the life of both his jungler and top laner here. And the Bread Smuggler somehow surviving out of the midst of that. A Throwguard looking for the dive. He's on the Olaf. He's got the damage. They find Alpals as well. And the Chaos starting to show weaknesses here in 7men's communication. As Alpals turning away early ends up costing him his life as well as his jungler and top laner. And MG Nitro now finding themselves even more kills. They're in the lead. They got the Drake, and now they're looking to pick up Shelly as well. And this is the thing about these two teams here. You can never assume that just because they won one game, they're going to be able to ride that momentum into the next, because the enemy team's not going to sit by and just let that happen. Instead, they constantly look for these huge fights, huge turns, huge change in strategies as well. And to a certain extent, I do question 7men not going for that sort of scaling strategy. I think, yes, the Ezreal got banned out, but the Cassiopeia for Alpals was just so strong. Why did they give it up for Syndra here? And we'll have to see whether or not giving it that up works, because despite them losing those fights, they certainly aren't out yet. Grand Skyfall coming in, but the Red Smuggler is not healthy. The Hourglass coming out here for the Ascendant, or pardon me, the Stopwatch, means that they actually managed to turn the tides, because Demon Ascension still pumps out the damage. And 7men getting themselves a double kill here as Teemin shows up in that bot side to sort of stop the gank dead in its track. A Throwguard looking to try and get a kill. He's going to Ragnarok up, and he's going to look for Muxar. An easy kill because Muxar was already low. He picks up a double because the Ascendant could not get out either. And triple here as Teemin could not win the 1v1. That was absolutely massive for a Throwguard. He's now 6-3-4. If you thought Teemin on the Vi looked scary, well, now you've got a Throwguard here on the Olaf with the Ghost. Even scarier here, more than able to just run people down. That was, granted, a very low health Muxar and Ascendant, but that was still a 1v3 in which he gets all three of them killed here. I am looking to see some Executioners callings coming out here, or Morellos, because you can't afford to let a Throwguard just pump out the damage here top side. The Bread Smuggler just popping off. He's 5-7, got the highest KP on his team right now. And he's just running amok. It sees him kill Brighton Bush in this top side as well. And only Lewis is just being the beneficiary from a lot of attention. He is struggling in lane, is down 25 CS as well as being down a ton of kills. But he's got help, so it's not too bad here. They are looking potentially to try and pull a turret dive, but I think that's a little bit risky. They're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to see the bot lane turret going down in favor of 7men. So despite the brawls going the way of MG Nitro, the macro play here coming through for 7men, and they find themselves a bit of a lead. Meanwhile, though, the Hex Flash over the wall and Shelly being called, they're looking to answer back in the mid lane here. And while first turret is worth more gold, mid turret is worth more in terms of pressure on the map. And the Ascendant getting in there. Once again, the Hourglass coming through. The Demonic Ascension means he can heal this up, but Muxar potentially gonna go down here. Did they buy enough time? Maybe, as the Throwguard does find two, but the Ragnarok is now out of time, and he will go down. To shutdown going to Brighton Bush of all people here. He's already up 6 kills, and if you take a look at the gold, which we haven't looked at all game here, Brighton Bush is actually up about 2k in that top lane, so he is a bit of a monster, despite getting killed quite a bit. And MG Bolt looks like he got stuck in the minions here. Thankfully, with the minions going down, we'll be able to move once again. In the jungle, it is Teemin still up against a Throguard, despite a Throguard's massive performance right now, 8-4-4. Instead, it's the mid lane where we're seeing Alpals just get dominated by MG Piglet here. He's down 1,000 gold. In the bot lane, though, it is Muxtar up a little bit as well. And topside, Bright and Bush just crushing only Lewis right now. And we've seen in the first two games, pardon me, it was the opposite with only Lewis really dominating Bright and Bush. So it looks like the Darius pick just really strong here for Bright and Bush. It might be something we see contested here in game 4 or just flat out banned, regardless if MG Nitro win or lose, because Bright and Bush is extremely strong here. And after all that chaos, it's looking at the teams are starting to form their own gank trains here. They're looking to work together. We do see the Ragnarok coming up, but Alpals, he ran the wrong way. He split from the rest of the team, and that is going to cost him his life. Bright and Bush able to get a turret in the top side, but they're going to lose the Cloud Drake here for it, and that is going to be Cloud Drake going the way of MG Nitro, and it is going to be Infernal Soul here for the rest of this series. And I think that's the more important Drake, because the way both teams are playing, the only thing that matters is damage between the two teams here. And the Ascendant trying to hold this bot lane turret. He has to be careful. He's going to be 1v2, and we've already seen these teams have zero qualms about diving turrets. He's going to go in. He's putting damage down onto the Bread Smuggler. The shield comes out. We'll be able to save him here. And because the Ascendant stepped out from the bush, from under his turret, he's going to go down. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across here. But will it be enough for the kill? No, it won't. We're seeing an interesting build here. It's going to be the Manamune into a Runans. Usually we see either sort of the Essence Reaver or IE into the Runans, or we do see the Manamune into the Trinity Force, but this time it's a hybrid of the two. Now Throbar getting caught off. The Ragnarok already off cooldown. He's going to be able to train down Alpals, but unfortunately for him, Ragnarok blocks CC. It does not block death. And we do see the Noxian Guillotine come down once again here. He dunks too, and now they're going for a third as the Assault and Battery come out, and oh my goodness, only Lewis had no chance to do anything at all. The Trinity Force build for him not working out, I think, at all. He's 1-5-5, and I think he should transition to something tankier for now, because Bright and Bush is just popping him here. And Bright and Bush propping up 7 men for now, because they were struggling. We do see the Vault Breaker come across onto the Bread Smuggler. Can he run away? No, he can't. There's nowhere for him to go. The slows are constantly being applied, and Teemin now on a rampage after giving up a death spree. And now MG Bolt, can he run away? He's gonna have to flash to dodge that Scatter the Weak here. No other big CC abilities available now to catch him, and they're looking to try and get this mid lane turret just shredded down. And 7 men able to find all the outer turrets for themselves. They have a nice infusion of gold, and despite being down gold, despite being down turrets, they managed to get the top inner turret as well, and they're suddenly up about 4,000 gold here. A nice advantage for themselves. And they might be able to find a Throguard here as well. No Ragnarok available for him. He takes the Blast Goes, but it's in the wrong direction. He's going to get shredded on the side. Only Lewis getting hunted down. The Guillotine comes across. They don't find him, but the Bleed just might. Instead, the fight is coming out. Muxtar getting taken extremely low by Bread Smuggler. Bread Smuggler able to find him. Teemin turns around, and the burst he puts out just shreds him, but MG Piglet has arrived, and he's got damage in spades. Moonfall coming out. The exhaust onto Alpals as well, but the second tick does not land, and now MG Piglet trying to survive the damage will not be able to do so. Vision of the Empire from Ascendants of all people gonna pick that one up, and after that messy fight, it's gonna be a 4-for-2. 7 men somehow surviving that hairy situation where it looked like Alpals got caught out. And what a turn from what we've been seeing from these fights. It has been MG Nitro winning a lot of these fights here, but 7 men coming out the victor in that one. And only Lewis, it wasn't really a 5v5 because only Lewis just got forced out the side right away by Teemin and Bright and Bush. He barely even survived the bleed there, and so he couldn't really ever look to re-engage, and that left the rest of his team fighting a 4v5, and it started the 2v2 in this corridor here, which just sort of expanded and just became messier and messier and messier. And again, this seems to be the theme of the game here. Forget any compositions, forget any strategies. This is just a full 5v5 brawl between these teams. Who's stronger, who's mechanically better, and right now it's looking like they're fairly evenly matched. I expected this to be a short game because I did expect the two teams to sort of just brawl and with their early lane picks win lane, win game, but both teams have done an amazing job balancing out. Every time we see action on one side of the map, it seems like there's the opposite happening on the other here. Now Brighton Bush has to be careful. He's running after only Lewis, but behind him, unknown to him, is actually a throw guard showing up. But actually, of all the people a throw guard can gank, Brighton Bush is the single worst target here. He's got the burst to take down the Olaf here, and he's gonna look for it. Instead, it is going to be a 2v3 here. He does go down, but they managed to find two for themselves. Teammate in the midst of them, but the stun does come out. Now Alpal's showing up as well. Can he find a kill for himself? Does have the burst damage, but no, the heal does save Bread Smuggler. He will be fine on the opposite side of the map. It was MG Piglet finding the Ascendant there. He didn't even have time to put down the Hourglass before he got popped from 100 to 0. And at the end of that, we are seeing a 2-for-3 trade with MG Nitro coming out ahead once again, as if to put lie to the last team fight they just lost. They show that nope, we are still just as strong, if not stronger. And now into the bot side, MG Piglet going in. He doesn't have the Moonfall though. He's looking for the damage. Can Alpals help him? The Scatter the Weak comes across just barely enough. Saves Mukhtar's life, as Mukhtar just barely surviving that one with less than 100 health. And are they going to be greedy? They are looking here for the Inferno Drake. They popped the Honey Fruit, but it looks like they don't want to go for this. It might be a mistake though, as MG Nitro now running in for this one here. And Mukhtar does not have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow either. Will not be able to help from base. Is picking up now the components of that Infinity Edge. Has picked up a pickaxe to boot, but he's now out of inventory space here. And it is going to be 7 men starting this one. They have to be careful. The Bread Smuggler is in the midst of that. Teammate able to take that before a throw guard can even show up, so he can't guard this particular throw. Right in Bush in the backline. He's starting the dunks. They do manage to take a throw guard down because damage can't be blocked by Ragnarok. And it's only MG Bolt left alive. He gets bursted down as well. And the only survivor gonna be MG Piglet here, who was also back at base. And MG Nitro throwing a little bit here in this fight. They went 4v4 rather than 5v4, and they just came in late. Team had already secured that. A throw guard coming in. You can't stop the damage, and so when you're sitting in the middle of 3, you just get popped. And Brighton Bush is so far ahead right now. He's up a full 5.3 thousand gold. This is normally that's a number, a figure you talk about when you talk about discrepancies between teams, but this is discrepancy in the top lane alone. Brighton Bush is so far ahead, so he can dive into the back line. And after picking themselves up Inferno, 7 men are going to be able to transition to the Baron here. Pick that up as well. We do see the Grand Skyfall coming in from the Bread Smuggler, and they're going to leave him alone for now because they've got a bigger problem in the form of Piglet, who did just burst down the bot lane of Mukhtar and the Ascendant. They go down. Piglet's still alive there. He gets 3. The Baron finally goes down. Team in getting that one, but will any of them survive to use it? Because now Brighton Bush is getting trained down. Team in looking to vault break out the back end there. He will be fine. And after a 4-for-0, we see the reverse happen here as they go 4-for-2. They do secure the Baron though, and that's going to be on Team in, the sole survivor of that fight there. Team also sitting on about a 3,000 gold lead here, so a lot of the advantages for 7 men just sitting on Brighton Bush and Teemin. But Mukhtar, you're starting to see the strength of that Ashe and why it's seen so much strength, why it's prevailing here in the professional levels of play, because an Ashe who can free fire, can put out damage, has completed the Infinity Edge as well, and in these team fights has been doing more work than MG Bolt. The range advantage as well means that he has that much more buffer room here. We are seeing the flash fault breaker onto MG Bolt. Are they going to follow up with the assault and battery? Yes, they are. And it's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from way back in the lane. Going to pick that one up for Mukhtar. He's going to go 5, 8, and 14 here. Has to be careful though, because MG Piglet is on the side looking for the engage. The Bread Smuggler coming in. He's going to land the stun, but he's going to get burst down in the process. MG Piglet can't quite find the damage to follow up. He's going to get burst down as well. There is no Zonius. He goes in. He does not come back out. And that failed attempt to take down Mukhtar is going to cost them 3 members of their team and their base as well, as we see the Baron push now coming into play. A throw guard off on the side. It's extremely low. Will get picked up by Scatter the Weak. And normally while Ragnarok is a counter to that, it's only a counter to the stun, the portion of it, not the damage. was a bit risky. That's not the first time we see a throw guard back in very, very sketchy situations. And a throw guard, you were supposed to be the one to guard against throws. Instead, he's been the one to cause it now. Mookstar left alone on the side, only Lewis going in. They do manage to pop in, but at what cost? It's going to be only Lewis going down as well. MG Boat now looking, Grand Starfall coming in. They do find Alpals. There's no scatter, there's no unleashed power either for Alpals for now, and they get an inhibitor turret, an inhibitor, and a Nexus turret to boot as 7 men just pouring in, finding themselves a 10,000 gold lead, and they're going to look for this bot lane inner turret as well. They will just barely be able to get it, but they might have overstayed, which is the story of this game here. Brighton Bush showing up. He's sort of the end-all in these fights right now. Is MG Piglet going to look for the engage? A good scatter of the week to disengage for now. The Ragnarok popped from the throw guard. He's running in. Will be able to find the Ascendant here. And now Brighton Bush sitting in the middle. A lot of people. Moonfall comes out. Will it be enough? It is certainly enough to take down Team in here. And Brighton Bush looking for the dunks. He finds one. Can he find more? No, he goes down. MG Boat able to pump out the damage. And somehow the Bread Smuggler able to survive in that huge brawl despite being so low throughout most of that fight here. And again, the story of the game. They win a fight, they overstay, they lose the next fight, they overstay, they lose the fight after that. It's been so back and forth. 37 to 41. Both teams exceeding a kill a minute right now. That's absolutely bloody. I'm pretty sure at this point, at 78 kills and counting, this is the bloodiest game in the series thus far. And, you know, as a play-by-play caster, this is the sort of games you live for. Non-stop action, fight after fight after fight. But as a color caster, as an analyst, I'm dying a little bit inside. There has been no time to talk about strategy, and for that matter, no strategy to talk of anyways. And now we do see the Inferno Drake coming up, both teams wanting it so badly. And it was the scene of absolute carnage the last fight. Looking at both teams now coming in here, wanting to take this fight. And so far, you know, we've talked a bit about combat summoners. Alpals has not really been one to use the teleport very much. And speaking of Alpals, he gets caught out here. Ragnarok already being used. Ascendant's gonna go golden. He's got the demonic ascension still flaring away there. And they're gonna be able to catch 3. Was it worth it? They throw 3 after Alpals. They throw everyone after Alpals. They end up trading 3 for 1. And this is probably gonna signal the end of the game here for MG Nitro. That's the second Inferno here for 7 men. There is an open lane now. Mookstar going after only Lewis. He's still got no tank items here, so he will get chased off. His flash down for now. He's taking Blastcone after Blastcone, and Mookstar looking to try and get him a little bit. They're waiting for their minions. Brighton Bush here, Team in here, the Ascendant here. Only Lewis and MG both so squishy. If either of them show up, they're dead for sure. And that's the Nexus turret down. The Nexus soon to follow, and 7 men securing their second win in this incredible slugfest here. And at the end of the game, really, what is there to say? Let's just give a rundown of the scores. 2-8 and 8 for only Lewis. He struggled this game to find anything. Throwguard 11, 11, 11. The man was everywhere, whether it be killing somebody or die in exchange. MG Piglet 8, 7, and 10 as well. 11, 6, and 6 for MG Boat. Despite the insanity, he continued to pump out damage with a positive KDA there. And the Bread Smuggler 6, 12, and 20. I'm absolutely loving his playstyle. He accelerates the pace of game, and I don't know if we're going to see another Pantheon ban. I don't think it's necessary, but it's certainly messing up any sort of strategy that 7 men were looking to have. And when you look over to 7 men, Brighton Bush 15, 7, and 6. In terms of gold here, 15,000 gold to end the game, tied with Team In. These guys are absolute monsters. Team In on the Vi, a huge mover in the early game. Mid game kind of fell off a little bit, but come the end game, he was an absolute monster. About the only really tanky person here in the game. Alpals in that mid lane, 2, 7, and 17. The Syndra pick, I think, not working perhaps for him quite as well as you'd like to see. And Mookstar 7, 9, and 18, but you can't underestimate the damage that he managed to just put out throughout this game. And for both teams, I mean, what are you going to change? What do you analyze going into game 4 here? For 7 men, I honestly don't think their play was good. But then again, in a brawl situation like this, they've shown that they've got the mechanics to go toe-to-toe and win against MG Nitro. They also showed they've got a little bit of better macro for themselves here. A bit of a surprising thing to say, but 7 men did play the macro game a little bit better than MG Nitro. So I think they don't need to do anything. I think they need to see what MG Nitro is opting to bring to the table here. They can continue to look for this sort of lane dominant style. As for MG Nitro, the Vi ban, or the lack thereof confuses me greatly. If you are going to accelerate the pace of the game this badly, you can't afford to let the kill. You can't afford to let the Ezreal through. In fact, I think the Ashe is more ban-worthy than the Ezreal if this is the style you want to play, because we did see Muxtar just bringing a lot to the table this game with those enchanted crystal arrows all over the map. One of the better Ashes we've seen in the last 2 weeks in terms of landing those crystal arrows. And also, he just brings more to the table in early fights here. So I think if you're MG Nitro, the strategy you brought in was a sound strategy, but change up your bans a little bit perhaps. Let the Ezreal through. Ban out, I think, the Vi instead, and the Darius as well. They need to find a counter to that Darius, and Volibear was not it. But the only issue is if they continue to use the Bread Smuggler for this style, they continue to lose the 2 bans. So we'll have to see what they opt to do. Is it really worth bringing in the Bread Smuggler and taking out I'm Very Upset Now and losing the 2 bans? Because so far, hasn't really looked like it. So we'll have to see how it goes into game 4. With that, we are going to hit an intermission break before we come back for this incredible game 4 in this best of 5.